Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Today webinar, or Innovative FMC Solution Help Mobile Operators to Quickly Build Fixed Networks. The purpose of today's webinar is to share all of you the FMC trend in the industry from a market analyst and research, the best practice experience from operator perspective, and the enabling technology from a vendor point of view. The three speakers today are, next page please. Okay, Mr. Steven Sale, Research Director at Analysis Mason, Mr. Rakesh Kumar, CTO at OMS Bharti Airtel, and Mr. Xiong Yupeng, Chief Planner Access Network at Huawei Technologies. The agenda in the next page has three topics. The first topic is Global FMC Market Trends and Challenges from Analysis Mason. Second topic is Digitalization for Operations and FTTH Rollout from Bharti Airtel. The last topic is Huawei Innovative AirPON Solution, Quickly Building Fixed Network at Low Cost from Huawei. During each section, you can ask your questions by using the Questions tab in the right side of the screen. Let's move to the first topic. The first speaker, Mr. Stephen Sale, directs Analysis Mason Consumer Research.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Thank you. Yes, I'm Stephen Sale. I'm Research Director from Analysis Mason. I'm here to talk to you about FMC trends and challenges. Could you move on to the first slide, please? Thank you. First of all, I'd like to show you that fixed mobile convergence is a global phenomenon. The majority of mobile operators worldwide offer some kind of fixed broadband service. In many cases, the operator will be a long-standing integrated player with fixed and mobile divisions. In recent years, however, we've seen M&A activity bringing fixed and mobile operators together, and we've seen many mobile-centric operators moving into the fixed market. In some regions, almost all mobile operators offer fixed services. This is the case in most of Europe, for example. In Western Europe, nearly 80% of mobile operators offer fixed. It's also the case in the developed Asian markets. Activity is lower in emerging markets, though is growing fast. There has been a big push for convergence in Latin America from America Mobile and Millicom, for example. There's also momentum in the Middle East and emerging Asia Pacific. Operators are increasingly bundling fixed and mobile services together to their end users. Retail FMC includes both dedicated fixed mobile offers, as well as cross-sell discounts for taking multiple services. The countries highlighted on the map in blue are seeing a strong trend towards this retail FMC, with between 5 and 30% of fixed broadband customers on FMC offers at the end of 2019. We expect to see more countries in MEA and Asia added to this list. There are also a few countries where penetration of FMC retail offers is over 30% of fixed broadband and are the dominant mass market offers. This is the case in a few hotspots in Europe, such as France, Spain, and Portugal, but also in Asia, in China and Thailand in particular. Next slide, please. I've pulled out some of Analysis Mason's forecasts here for retail FMC. I've taken a selection of countries from around the world. You can see how strong FMC is in some markets. 75% of fixed broadband connections in Spain were FMC at the end of 2019. Most customers in Spain don't really distinguish between a fixed operator and a mobile operator. They have a single supplier for their telecom services. Another country with high FMC penetration is China, with 60% of broadband customers on FMC at the end of 2019. We still expect some growth in these countries, but both are reaching saturation. Increases sometimes come from structural changes in a market, such as M&A activity, as we saw in the Netherlands in 2017, and we are currently seeing in the UK. However, there is continued organic growth in pretty much all the FMC markets as operators step up their FMC strategies. There are several other countries in the 20 to 30% range which we expect to increase. I'll highlight Thailand, which we expect to increase from 33% to over 50% of broadband connections by 2024. And Malaysia is also a good prospect for growth. Next slide, please. The FMC is an important part of many operators' strategies, and here are some of the reasons why. First, subscriber acquisition. In the early days of FMC, it was often fixed operators moving into mobile. Now we see mobile operators cross-selling broadband to their customer base and gaining subscriber share in a growing market. It can also support family-based offers for multiple mobile SIMs. FMC is a source of valuable revenue-generating units. Secondly, churn among fixed customers is generally lower than churn for mobile. By tying services together in converged bundles, operators hope to benefit from a lower churn rate. Churn for FMC customers tends to be very low. Thirdly, a converged customer base can offer insulation from market volatility, such as a new mobile entrant, or indeed a global pandemic. Many operators see long-term strategic benefits here. Fourth, operators can potentially trade off that lower churn to increase the value of their packages. Many operators are focusing on building the average revenue per household or per account. We've done lots of research on how operators have successfully increased prices or upsold customers to higher packages. Fibre upsell has been a crucial pillar of growth for many operators. And lastly, fixed mobile convergence opens the door to a range of services that leverage all-round connectivity. Examples include multi-screen video and gaming services. Next slide, please. We have many case studies pointing to best practice in FMC, and I'd like to highlight the example of AIS in Thailand. AIS is the market share leader in mobile, but for a long time lacked presence in the fixed market. True is a leader in fixed broadband, and it began offering FMC bundles to target market share in mobile, and it was successful. AIS responded with its own fibre offer in 2015. Since then, it's been able to leverage its premium mobile base to drive uptake of its FMC offers. AIS offers a 10% discount on fibre for mobile subscribers. It also has a range of Power 4 Max converged tariffs from around 800 baht. The graphic in the bottom right shows the top range offer, a gigabit fibre service with a 30 GB mobile plan, plus the AIS Play entertainment package. At the end of 2019, AIS had over a million fibre customers and had gained a 10% market share in fixed broadband, as shown in the chart on the right. 86% of its fibre customers were also mobile customers. Furthermore, it had defended its position in mobile to retain a strong lead with a 43% market share. Telenor's subsidiary DTAC is the one that's lost out as the market has moved to FMC. At its peak in 2013, it had a share of 33% of mobile, and it's now just 23%. DTAC recently signed a cross-selling partnership with Jasmine, so is also moving to FMC. Next slide, please. Next, we'll take a look at the effect that 5G will have. The chart on the right shows our forecast for adoption of 5G among the mobile customer base. This includes both smartphones and feature phones. In advanced markets such as North America, penetration is expected to be almost 70% by 2024, with developed Asia-Pac and Western Europe close behind. The outlook for emerging markets is less aggressive, but it's still a significant proportion of mobile users, around 20%, generally the high-end customers. As 5G comes to market, we'll see a stronger move towards converged networks. The business cases for fibre deployment and for 5G mobile are interlinked. On the network side, fibre is a prerequisite for cell densification and will be required for both backhaul and fronthaul for 5G sites. From the consumer perspective, there's a strong fit between fibre and 5G mobile offers for all-round connectivity experience. Fibre will help attract and retain a premium customer base for mobile 5G. These offers are already available in China, and we expect to see many more. Next, please. There's also a strong argument for fibre to support traffic offload from cellular networks. Fixed networks carry the vast majority of data traffic worldwide. The proportion of traffic on fixed was 88% in 2019. We expect this to decrease, but not by much. This is in large part due to the volumes of video traffic carried on fixed networks, driven by the number and size of screens in the home. Fixed networks also carry a lot of traffic from mobile devices. Most traffic generated by mobile devices is carried by fixed access networks via Wi-Fi. As 5G is rolled out, data consumption will only increase. The chart shows the average cellular traffic for a 4G handset versus a 5G handset. Data traffic will continue to grow on 4G, but many high-end users will be migrating to 5G. For these users, the global average is expected to reach around 50 GB per month. The requirements for traffic offload will only increase. I'd like to make another point here. Converged services can play a strong role in mitigating the effect of unlimited data plans. The risk of cellular congestion is much lower when customers have a strong home broadband service. Many converged operators have restricted unlimited data offers to their FMC customers, offering those customers a clear benefit while also offsetting the risk to the operator. Wi-Fi also, of course, plays a valuable role in providing indoor coverage. Next slide, please. If we look at the evolution of various broadband technologies, we can see the rapid increase in bandwidth supported. Copper-based technologies have largely run their course now, and operators have shifted efforts to fiber. Cable networks offered relatively strong performance round about in the early 2010s with an initial migration to DOCSIS 3. But even with 3.1, cable topologies are subject to major bottlenecks. Thousands of homes share a CMTS, and real-world performance is far short of the theoretical maximum. Cable is losing its competitiveness. GPON was standardized a long time ago now and has supported fiber's emergence as a superior access technology. Standard GPON delivers 2.5 gigabits per second downstream and just over 1 gigabit per second upstream. XGS-PON offers a bandwidth upgrade to symmetrical 10 gigabits per second and a clear roadmap to the future in 50G PON. One lasting consequence of the current COVID-19 epidemic will be more focused on upstream capabilities and on the robustness of networks. This further bolsters the argument for fiber. Next slide, please. So mobile operators need to consider fiber as a key pillar of their strategic thinking. Fiber is a long-term defensible asset. It is a relatively low-risk investment that is close to a mobile operator's core business, with returns stretching forward over decades. Penetration of fixed broadband is still relatively low in many countries, offering operators the potential to take a share of a growing market. Fiber also offers the possibility of opening up new revenue opportunities, targeting home broadband access, of course, but also going beyond that with video services and potentially into cloud gaming, VR content and services, smart homes, and so on. As previously mentioned, FMC bundles have been successful around the world at attracting and retaining premium customers, and mobile operators can use fiber to do the same. Fiber also contributes operationally in relieving cellular network congestion and as a prerequisite for cell densification. Next slide, please. I'll finish up with some recommendations. The prospects for fixed mobile convergence are strong. Investment in fiber access networks can provide mobile operators with an important new source of revenue. Secondly, mobile operators that develop a fiber-rich infrastructure will be better equipped to offer high-capacity mobile front-haul and backhaul. And finally, time is of the essence. Mobile operators investing in fiber access networks should reutilize their existing infrastructure as much as possible to reduce total cost of ownership and decrease time to market. Thank you. And that's all from me on FMC trends and challenges.
Thank you, Mr. Sale, for your presentation. I think that the FMC industry is very clear and also logic for fixed mobile convergence. Let's move to the second topic, digitalization for operations and FTTH rollout. The speaker is Mr. Rakesh Kumar, is the CTO at Bharti Airtel, responsible to lead the team to achieve FTTH deployment and introduce new technologies, automation, and vendor deployment strategy. His specialization includes fixed and mobile technologies to enhance and deliver the customer and network API.
So I apologize for the delay and thank you for giving me this opportunity to present this thing. As some of you may be knowing, Airtel provides both fixed and mobile services. So I am the CTO for the FTTH operations and rollout. And many of you might know that India is one of the few countries where the FTTH penetration is very low. We are a late mover to FTTH. The wireline penetration is low and mobile is considerably higher. Having said that, we believe that FTTH rollout is very important for multiple reasons. One is that 4G will not provide, or over wireless, the consistency of experience is very difficult to provide. Secondly, OTT services are becoming very popular, and especially post-COVID scenario, OTT and work from home, this is again giving rise to the popularity of the fixed line services. Thirdly, we believe that it is a good indicator to reduce churn across multiple services, even in the mobile segment. And fourthly, we find that there is a lot of synergy between FTTH and mobile operations because fiber is required in both. So lots of synergies we are able to drive and therefore bring down costs. We are providing services right up to 1 Gbps. 100 Mbps is the most popular service, but we are providing right up to 1 Gbps as well. So in this, I will cover the what I believe is that apart from capex or the FTTH unit cost, it is also very important to ensure that you are able to provide the premium experiences to the end customers at the most efficient cost, and in that digitization plays a key role. And I will just try to present how we at Airtel have implemented extensive digitization in order to cut down costs and also improve profitability. So if we look at the digitization piece, okay, we find that there is the network and then there are the stakeholders. If you look at the network, it starts right from the ONT at the end customer premises. Then there is the passive SA network, or we call it the subscriber network, which comprises of the fiber, the drop fiber cable, the splitter, and the OTB. Then we have the OLT or the MSAN multi-service access node. Then we have a transport network, and then we have a core which comprises of BRAS, AAA, and authentication systems before it goes to the network cloud. And then these are all the stakeholders apart from the customers. We have the installer, we have the fault repair engineer, we have the ISP engineer, we have the NOC, and we have the call center executives. And the challenge really is how to ensure that the relevant information flows it to the relevant people. So if you look at this thing, we find that there are a lot of information which can be digitized, and which, if given in time to the various stakeholders, is going to considerably improve your profit line as well as your efficiency of operations. So for example, we find that the core or the BRAS can give you indication of the quota status and the profile of the customer. So if some customers are complaining that maybe my speed is slow, so if my FR engineer has this information on his app or on his workforce, it is very good for him. Similarly, people from the MSAN NMSS, we can pick up the link status and the line speed. So that's very good and very good information to the installer or to the FR engineer. Similarly, after implementing the network analyzer, you're able to find the line health and the fault diagnosis system. Similarly, on the CP, if you have a TR69 system, you are able to find out the number of connected devices which your router is providing. So some customers may complain of a slow speed, but it actually they have multiple devices, and therefore the call center executive can advise, that sir, you are having multiple devices. Or let us say the firmware of the CP is not correct, then immediately they can upgrade the firmware of the CP. So these things are there. So basically what we have done is we have integrated multiple APIs from various systems, and I think we have implemented around 40 to 50 APIs and brought them at one place in order to ensure seamless service fulfillment to our customers. So our customers has multiple options. If he has any issue, he can either go to an app and resolve his calls, or he can even the IVR is very intelligent, because IVR has hooks to multiple ecosystems in the network and is able to resolve the complaint even on the IVR. Or the call center agent has all this information readily available in front of him, and he can resolve so many issues. And even after the call center, we have implemented an algorithm which, once the SRs have passed through the call center or the complaints have, and if the call center agent is not able to resolve, then it goes to an ORT or the on-call support, where they are able to look at those issues and proactively connect, and then get in touch base with the customers and resolve their issues, without the need of sending an engineer to the customer's place. And at the second level, there are some percentage of complaints which are required to be resolved by the NOC. And again, example, if a card is faulty or so the NOC immediately configures the correct configuration from the NOC, and again a field visit is avoided to the customers. And lastly, when all these options have been exhausted, and this we do within the span of 15 minutes after the call has been logged, Then we forward the complaints to the engineer, who has a plethora of these digital equipment or information available with him. So he has this connect, on which it is available to him as to what is exactly wrong, and he can precisely troubleshoot the customers. So as a result, we have found that we have been able to reduce the complaints to in a span of a year by 15%. We have been able to reduce the complaint rates or the gross fault rate. We have been able to reduce the average holding time at the call center, and we've been able to reduce even though our base is increasing, but we've been able to reduce the manpower count which is required by a significant amount. We have also developed an app recently. This is a recent development because post-COVID we found that the call center, there were not sufficient call center agents which can receive the complaints. So now this app which we have developed, and it integrates with the entire network ecosystem, and allows the customer to self-configure or self-troubleshoot his problems. So he's able to optimize his Wi-Fi if there is an interference issue. He's able to conduct speed tests. He's also able to diagnose, the entire end-to-end his line just by pressing the button. And if in case the complaint is not resolved, he can raise a SR through the app itself, so that the call center, etc., is not required. So basically, without even during the COVID time, this is how we were able to manage our complaints just by giving this app to the end customer, so they are not inconvenienced during COVID times and in the case of entire lockdown. There is also, we have implemented in our NOC multiple tools which help us to troubleshoot the various problems which are going in the entire network. First of all, we have a single dashboard which tells how many alarms are going on in the complete network with a region-wise breakup. So there is a single window for all the alarms within the network. The call center, the NOC agent is able to see in one screen what are the total alarm count, and he is also able to, with the rich correlation tools that we have implemented in the NOC, he is able to find out what is the precise reason for each alarm. So he can distinguish whether it is a fiber cut, or whether some particular router is down, or there is some power issue in some NOC, or there is some link which is degraded, which helps us to identify and troubleshoot. And all of this has been automated. So manual intervention is very less, and the time to troubleshoot is very less, and therefore the resolution of tickets is very, very fast. Similarly, they have these troubleshoot tickets which tells us whether the temperature is in control, or the utilization is in control, or the memory utilization is in control, and all these reports are auto-generated and are available in various mechanisms, whether it's a URL or a QoE or a RCS and drill downs. All these are automated reports by implementing a variety of tools. Similarly, I was mentioning about the core status. So relevant parameters of the core, the BRAS is a very, very critical, important, what is its connectivity to the authentication servers, to the diameter servers, etc. So we are able to have a look at that. And again, the key sites, the latency of the key sites. This is the social site. Similarly, we have a banking sites or the travel sites. So all these sites are categorized, and from various locations, what is the latency to each of these locations. So all this is being automatically done, and appropriate dashboards are being outputted. Similarly, the second thing is the install. The customers need an install, and we at Airtel are proud of our very within 4 hours we are able to install around 75% of our requests. And the way we are doing it is that we have a digital CAF booking system. Then GIS, we have a GIS where all our network elements are stored, and we are implementing the allocation of the code is happening automatically. The technology change, if any customers require, that is also happening automatically just at the press of the button. And the modem configuration is a lot of extent is the customer scans the modem. That is what we are going towards, and after that our systems take over. The modem serial number is scanned by the customer, the ONT serial number, and then we have a plug and play system which automatically pushes the right configuration, and then the customer just has to enter his SSID and password name, again guided through app. So this again we are finding that our visits required per install is decreasing, and because there is a reduction in installation time, so we are negotiating with our partners to bring down the install costs. The third piece is, as was being mentioned by one of our panelists, we are using this QR code to update our network element information. So as and when it is installed, it is updated with the correct addresses. And when the customers want to book their connection, they can scan this QR code. This is the process of implementation, and we'll quickly find out where the engineer is need to be sent and what is the network element, and all those things can be done. Similarly, when we are constructing the network, we are moving towards an app-based construction so that the various stages, the move order or the MD filling and the material consumptions, all these are digitized. And in effect, what will result it will reduce the time to deploy for the FTTH network, and therefore, it will increase the once the time to deploy reduce, the ROI will become attractive, and because it will be reduced time definitely means lesser spillages and more efficient costs. So, then we have a plenty of other initiatives lined up. I will not go through all this, but basically we are, I'll just mention a few of them. For example, we are working on a Wi-Fi heat map because we are finding around 25% of the complaints are linked to Wi-Fi issues. So from the remote, we are trying to build up a Wi-Fi heat map in the end customer devices so that we can guide the customers as to, you really the problem is not in the line, but in the way, the router has been placed in your house, and we can guide you as to where the order, etc., has to be placed. Similarly, we are trying to resolve a lot of education videos to the end customer, so that the customer is able to troubleshoot himself, because many of these cases it is as basic as please use your 5 gigahertz. We have dual band routers, so please use your 5G band. It will help you give bigger speeds. Or please press this button. This will able to ensure that the router is resetted properly. Or please see whether this link is coming or not. So we are developing a lot of such tools so that roles in order to install, in order to fault repair are avoided. And then we are also trying to build a service rating system, very much like Ola and Uber, so that we know which of our engineers are efficient and which engineers need to be trained further. So that's it from my side. The idea is basically use digitization of operations not only to enhance the customer experience, but also bring down the cost to serve to the customers and also cost to build for the FTTH network. Thanks a lot.
In a few minutes, you can see the poll in the poll tab in the right side of the screen. Okay, here. So the question is, when will you most likely consider using AirPON solutions? You can choose only one option. No, this is not poll 1, but probably poll 2. Okay, let's do it for poll 1. Okay, poll 1 is, what are the main challenges for you to build the fixed networks? You can select multiple choices: long-term return on investment, long-term TTM, difficult OLT site acquisition, difficult ODN deployment, efficient network planning, or efficient network operation. So you have around 1 minute to vote. Again, multiple choices, and after the vote we can resume the results to you. Please vote.
Vincenzo, I can see the result for the poll.
Okay.
Can you see
Okay.
it? So I'll give you some brief information on that. Actually, we propose there is 6 options on the top 3, which is voted as the major challenges. The top 1 is a long-term return of the investment. Secondly is a long-term time to market, and thirdly will be the difficult ODN deployment. Actually, those are all really the difficulties for a successful fiber to somewhere business because of the huge investment on the physical infrastructure. And we understand it is still not so confident for, I believe, the global operators to set up this decision on investment on the fibers. So actually, it is also relevant to several kinds of, let's say, the activities. Firstly is still on the target customer selection. And that would be relevant for the ROI and the TTM issue. Remember that from the global survey perspective and also the presentation of Stephen, the subscriber acquisition is also quite an expensive topic for nearly global operators, for hundreds of US dollars, is, for instance, in some of the areas. So which could be considered for, especially for a mobile operator, they still should do an investment and then get paid, and then to investment additionally in that sense. So where it is quite essential to find the heavy user for the broadband subscribers. And so that also could be embedded in some of the planning principles. For instance, we may just take directly from the utilization of the mobile broadband as the very direct reference to select the target fixed broadband operators. And because of they have already set up the behavior to use the broadband, to use the internet, to subscribe any kinds of internet services. And then in some of the practice, they will still set up the pre-subscription activities. So before they are trying to decide an investment to a specific area, they just need to set up a survey also on the intention for the corresponding target area, on whether they really need a fiber coverage and how much would like to pay for that. And from this kind of information, and supported with the fundamental data inputs for the specific areas, for the family architecture, for the enterprise architecture, it could be helpful for the operators to set up an investment decision or philosophy. And when it is built, and that will comes to the solution part. How do we improve the planning efficiency? How do we improve the installation and construction efficiency? I set up some. I have already presented some of our recommendations for that. So that's my brief understanding for this poll. Hi, Vincenzo.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Xiong. Sorry for inconvenience. So let's move to the third topic, and we will recover back the second topic when Mr. Kuman is back. The third topic is about the AirPON solution from Huawei. The speaker is Mr. Xiong, who accumulated 20 years experiences on the fixed broadband and FTTX solution. And during the past 10 years, he was responsible for FTTX broadband access solution planning in fixed access product management department. Please, Mr. Xiong, I leave the floor to you.
Thank you, Vincenzo. This is Xiong Yupeng from Huawei Technology. According to the helicopter view of Stefan on the global FMC situation, let's start with the topic on what is the key challenges for successful FMC network. So according to Stefan's presentation and also our global cooperation with our customers, we found that it's quite essential to set up and future forward-looking fiber-based infrastructure to set up a successful FMC network. To do that, we found that there are still very big obstacles in front of us. We summarized into three aspects. Firstly is on the subscription acquisition. So which means that as a mobile operator, we have to find what is the most valuable area, what is the most valuable target customers to set up the fiber-based access or broadband network as a first batch for a successful business as a starting point. So we found that will be the first topic on efficient network planning. And secondly, when the strategy or target built area is constructed, the next topic will be how do we build this network in a quite efficient way, in a low cost way, in a low TCO way, and to save the cost and increase the speed, accelerate the construction activities. After the network is built and the operation and maintenance on the network, and to improve that kind of efficiency, it gets to the third topic. So I'd like to give our understanding and on what will be the considerable situations or method to overcome all these difficulties. So that is an overview for what we proposed to the global operators who have very abundant mobile resources. We call it the AirPON. solutions. And it is an end-to-end solution that we may support the global mobile operators to build a successful fiber-oriented broadband network. That's also to covers to the three biggest difficulties on the network solution planning, construction, and also the operation and intelligent maintenance on that. Actually, in the three aspects. Firstly, that we have to find a way to set up the successful target customer areas. So that will be the precise planning. But in this planning and on the following construction activities, we have to make the maximal utilization of the existing infrastructure that the mobile operator or which we have already built for the mobile network. For instance, we have abandoned infrastructures on the site resources and also the corresponding infrastructures. That will also be in the second topic. We may set up the site located OLT kind of resources to build and fiber to the home or fiber to the premises network. In that sense, we move that the traditional central office-based fiber to anywhere network into an site-based network. Then we may reuse a lot of essential infrastructure resources along with the mobile network. So I will give the detailed information in the following presentations. Thirdly, that the acquisition of the home network and how do we enhance the home experiences and also the operators maintenance and operation efficiency is another topic. So from the end-to-end solution perspective, so the AirPON, which means that we put the PON technology actually rear in the air, will be composed for a lot of key network components, including the ODM planning tools of the software mechanism, a blade type ORT, which is co-located with the existing or with the new built mobile sites, and the very high efficient ODN, which means the active passive part, and also on the customer premises equipments. Overall, all these solutions will be managed by a centralized smart engine. So which means that will be the NCE network cloud engine part. So I'll give this information in a little bit more detail. Firstly, on the precise planning, that will be an absolutely changing compared with the traditional way to plan a fiber to the premises network. So we have this kind of a practice also cooperated with our customers. Just to give one example here. For instance, we worked with one of our customers on a specific area, which is the area, total area is around 60 kilometers, 47 square kilometers, covering over 4,000 subscribers. So they give us a target to set up a network, physical network infrastructure to serve for at least 40% of the penetration. So we give these two comparisons to them. One is use the traditional way, a centralized offices where the OLT and the fiber to the home access equipment is located, and to distribute the feeder fiber and distribution fiber and also the drop fiber to everywhere. In that sense, it covers on the left side, and there is totally just one central offices, one active equipment, but a lot of distribution boxes or access box spread it all over these areas, and we calculate all the numbers and efficiencies. Instead of that, since that in this area, this operator has already set up 6 mobile sites there, so we changed the planning rules that the fiber, especially on the access part, the infrastructure will just started with the mobile sites. So for all the backhauling resources and the site resources will be all shared by both the mobile network and also the fixed network. So which is new built, not just from just a single central office to everywhere, but from this specific area, cover each of it in a grid way. So in that sense, they found that the numbers is changed a little bit, but we found a lot of savings on the fiber length that will be really buried underground or spread it all over there. The cable length is saved to around 1/3 of the total investment. So that would be cost saving on not just the length, but also on the total investment. Furthermore, when all this planning activities are also actually computed with the smart tools. So we just give the inputs for the corresponding resources and the conditions on that, and calculate both of that. So instead of the manual planning in advance, so we also got a lot of improvements on the planning efficiency. The total planning time are reduced from 1 month into just 1 week. So that would be the smart way to change the planning rules. And after this, and that will be the another topic to build this network relatively also quickly. So this is also the comparison between the traditional central office mode and also the AirPON mode. So which means that the site-based access mode. We may see from this comparison, we got a lot of savings, especially on the passive infrastructure part. In the traditional central office mode, normally we understand fiber to the home central offices covers around 5 to 10 kilometers from the geographic territory. So which means we have to distribute the fiber length to each of the subscribers to covering all these distances. Instead of that, if we have already mobile sites or we have the plan to set up a mobile sites here, we understand that mobile sites covers just the hundreds of meters or 1 kilometer, and all the uplink resources, all the site resources, all the electricity resources could be shared by both mobile and fixed sites. So all the uplink resources will be reused. Which is new build is just these hundreds of meters fiber resources. So that will be roughly save 1/3 of the total investment. And also, furthermore, to improve the efficiency of the fiber installation, even for these hundreds of meters, and there are also the ways to do that. We will have also the detailed information afterwards. So let's look at a more detailed on the key components here. Firstly, from the fixed and the mobile converged sites, we know that the mobile sites are also getting to new kind of equipment type, especially when we are talking about the new mobile network or mobile sites with 5G. So both of the remote RRU or BBU or even AAU are changing from the cabinet type into this kind of compact blade type. And so this site will be installed very easily in a very short time. So to borrow this kind of idea, so the fiber access equipment, which means that the OLT could also be designed like that. So on this picture, we may see that it is the latest generation, the blade type OLT. It is designed with a very powerful core inside it. So it supports typically 16, let's say 10 GPON, even 10 GPON ports. So covering around 1,000 subscribers in this single location. And also the weight is designed within 15 kilograms, so it could easily be installed by just a single technician. And also it is designed as the environmental hardened products could be installed anywhere in any outdoor situations. Actually, just 2 weeks ago, this kind of equipment is actually installed on the base camp and also the number 2 cap of the Everest, where the altitude is actually 5,000 and 6,000 meters above the sea level. And so it is a very hot situation there, a very low temperature, and the fiber-based equipment is already installed there. And so that will be the first highlights of the overall AirPON solutions on the blade type OLT and be co-located with the mobile sites. And secondly, will be on the passive part, so below the OLT. So where we may recommend this kind of a digital quick ODN. So actually these two words, there are also the two meanings behind that. Firstly, on the quick. The quick mostly represents that we are trying to make use of the so-called pre-connection technology instead of the traditional way, which relies on the splicing technology. So there is also the comparison on the upper half and the bottom half of the traditional ODN installation process, and also the quick pre-connection ODN installation. The we know that the key actions to install an traditional ODN components is on fiber connection based on the fusing technologies. It needs their special instruments. It needs special tools and needs the special trained technicians to do that to guarantee the engineering quality. So instead of that, if we may use just the code connection-based pre-connection technology, what is needed on the actions is just the plug on the plug port and then rotate. So all the fiber connection is built. So the air type, the blade ORT is also designed based on this pre-connection technology, and also the cascaded all the connection blocks are based on this one. So we may set up the end-to-end pre-connection based ODN, and the installation efficiency is also quite improved, and the technician and the requirements to the technician skill is also reduced, and then we may get also a lot of savings on the passive network installation. And after the installation, now we have to manage also this passive network. In the past, we know that all the passive network, they are all dummy components, dummy connection points, and also the dummy cables. It cannot be managed really by the management system. So all this information is based on the manual input by the engineers. Instead of that, so it is also the technical progress that we may use the let's say the image recognition technology to set up the all the connection points and connection relations automatically. So the product is also designed like that. It is image recognizable. When all the boxes is installed and when the cables is plugged in, so we may just simple take a picture. And then the connection relations for all these cables and boxes will be recognized by the smart app. And then, so this information will be uploaded into the inventory system automatically, just one click on the smart app. And even when the ONT, let's say, at the customer premises is installed, so the connection relations could also be recognized by the smart app automatically. And so in the network management system, so all the connection relations, the inventory system could be set up just also one click. So we may replace all the manual operation into the automatic operation. So that make the ODN and all the solutions from the dummy points into the digital one. So we got the digital and quick ODN solutions. And after the network is built, so the nextly is how to operate and the maintenance. So that will be based on the software system. There are also the several aspects on that. Firstly is on the deployment, on the provisioning process. So when all this connection is set up, so we may base if there is a subscribers ask for the broadband services, so all the service profile could be provided or downloaded from the management system to the network equipment and also the customer equipments automatically. So that may avoid us to do any on-site software operation, software configuration or software debugging. All these service profile will be loaded into the network system automatically, remotely. That's first one. And then, so the network will be, so the operations need to monitor the network situations, the operators, right? So when this system is set up, the service is profiled, and all these network working situations and running status will also be collected by the operation system automatically during the service is working. And so based on the connection qualities, based on the home network qualities, even based on the service profile and matching status. And so we may understand the healthy status for the network all the time, in real time, and to do any kind of actions to avoid any of the risk become to a real, let's say, the issue or problem. And so the network healthy status will be guaranteed in all the real time. And furthermore, according to this automatic cycle of that, we may also spot where there is a heavy subscribers or heavy service users of that, and to do any kinds of very accurate marketing to the specific customers. For instance, to propose some of the customers to upgrade to a high service packages, or to promote any kinds of a new service for them if they really ask for this kind of, they need this kind of activities. But all these activities could be managed by also the centralized management, operation, and maintenance system. From this one, so we will cover the end-to-end network planning, construction, and maintenance operations for the operator. And by that way, that we believe that we may try to support our customers, especially who has the very powerful mobile resources to set up and operate and fix the network relatively more successful. So that's all for my presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Chong. I think it's very clear what is the vision of Huawei about the AirPON solution to enable the FMC. Thank you very much, Mr. Kumar. So this is the last topic of this webinar. Maybe the time is almost over. Maybe we have time for a couple of questions. Well, first question for Mr. Sale. The question is this: do you believe that FMC, especially with the 5G deployment, will postpone the introduction of new fixed access network technologies? Please, Mr. Sale.
Hello. FMC, sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. Do you believe that FMC, especially with the 5G deployment, will postpone the introduction of new fixed access network technologies?
I'm not sure that I fully understand. I think certainly fiber deployments and 5G deployments go hand in hand. The cost modeling and the business cases for both overlap quite heavily. I mean, both on the retail side, as I described earlier, with potential for double play 5G plus fiber, but also on the operational side with backhaul and cell site densification. So I don't see any issues there. I see probably the contrary, that the case for fiber access in particular is stronger than ever now. And I mentioned the coronavirus pandemic briefly, and I think it's probably worth reiterating that there is going to be more of a focus on uplink, and also more of a focus on robust networks. So the more fiber there is to support that to end users, probably the better.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer. We have time for another question for Mr. Chong. The question is how to ensure the synergy between investing on fiber or MBB and users' demand. How to smoothly migrate users from mobile broadband like FWA home broadband to fixed broadband on fiber. Please.
Okay, so the smooth migration. So actually, both fiber broadband and fixed mobile wireless are targeted to actually the same group of the subscribers, that the home broadband subscriber, let's say. But that could be, there is still a little bit differentiation on the positioning for both of that. So fiber is a heavy investment, but lost for quite a long period of time, and could guarantee the consistent broadband service experiences, and especially for high bandwidth applications. But FWA is a very good initiative technology, also network infrastructure, network strategy, to grab the first batch of the broadband subscribers, especially when that the operators have relatively abandoned, let's say, the air interfaces resources. At the beginning, especially when a new mobile network, let's say for instance for 5G is built, at the beginning could be not so much the mobile broadband subscribers. They may use the relatively abandoned wireless broadband resources to subscribe more, and let's say the home broadband. And when that the utilization on the home broadband services or the loyalty of the subscribers could be increased in a relatively higher level. So they may construct the fiber infrastructure gradually and then change the business strategy from a pure FWA into a hybrid one and then to fiber gradually. And then to enable hundreds of megabits, gigabits level of the service packages. And for the business strategy, normally the fixed broadband and also the mobile broadband are different. So fixed broadband is set up a business model based on bandwidth, but wireless are based on normally by traffic. So if there is a too heavy traffic running, home broadband running on wireless area interfaces, and that would turn over the business strategy also for the mobile network. So probably FWA at the beginning, and the fiber will take the next more important role on fibers. But to set up the synergy, for instance, let's say, remember, fiber will be needed by both the fixed network and wireless network, 5G network, simultaneously. So it is also a natural consideration to build a single fiber infrastructure and to serve for both of the purposes. That would be my reply.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Chong. One question for Mr. Kumar. In your opinion, what benefits will FTTH rollout digitalization bring to the network? Thank you.
Yeah. FTTH rollout digitization helps us in multiple ways. First of all, it reduces the cycle time. Right from planning to approval to material booking, material placement to material booking to AT, because everything is digitized. So there is actually zero delay in recognizing in capitalizing the network, okay, in capitalizing the cost, and that has a virtuous effect, because if the whole delay is avoided, then the partners can be paid in a shorter time, the network can be RFS'd in a shorter time, and also we can track what was the intended utilization, and therefore people can be held accountable. So multiple ways, both direct and indirect, and we believe that once you digitize, we have an opportunity of reducing 10% approximately of the rollout costs.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kumar. I think that there is no time for other questions, unfortunately, because the time is over. I don't know if there is a time for Mr. Chong to have a quick summary of the key messages of this webinar before closing.
Thank you, Vincento. So today we covered a lot of topics on the FMC strategy, from the business strategy to the network construction and also the operation. From the market perspective, we saw that over 80% of the global operators are actually mobile operators who all have the very strong mobile capabilities. To set up the future, even for a most competitive strategy, it has to be a converged converged services, converged network, and converged operation from the end-to-end capabilities. So the whole industries are getting to support this kind of a strategy. And so the both for mobile and fixed, will go simultaneously, but based on the fiber-based.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Chong. I think that we can finish here the webinar. Unfortunately, not all the questions have been answered by online through the application, but the unanswered questions will be answered by mail later. And so you can get the benefit to clarify, to a clear idea, and also to cancel any doubts that was expressed in the questions. So thank you everyone for attending. We wish you a good continuation of your job. Good luck, and keep safe. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.